we can jump in because this one's going to be a complicated one. So we might as well give ourselves some time. All right. So I know that some of the people on the recording following along are new to us. So let me just set this up really quick. I am Jamie Shibley, CEO of The Expressory, and we are a strategic engagement agency. So we manage all of the personal touch relationship building to grow businesses. And we created this community as an ongoing way for business leaders to engage in the strategies and tactics and things that keep you focused on the relationship building stuff that tends to get pushed to the side because we're actually running business, doing all that other fun stuff. So over the last few weeks, we have been walking through a strategy that we call our Dream 25 system. And this is a process that we work with our clients on designing how to nurture prospects and strategic partners. And that can also apply to clients, but we do it on a, is not as many touch points involved. So let me go ahead and share the screen here. Now, I do note in the chat, because this is the community and we have some regular people attending and stuff, feel free to share more about yourselves, how to follow each other on LinkedIn, so that you guys can continue. It's about relationship building. So I am going to open up that chat here. Now, also while I'm doing this, you should have received the latest template in some of the emails. If you didn't, throw your email in the chat here and Carrie can send that over so that you have that to work along as we go through this. And screen, here we go. All right. So just a quick review on where we've been in the weeks leading up. When it comes to business development, what we typically find in the conversation with businesses is that when we talk about, okay, what is your process? What are you doing from a new business development standpoint? It usually starts with, well, I don't know my right fit clients. I don't have those prospects in mind. I don't have a list of them. And if they do have a list, typically what we find is that they don't know how to really dig in and what points of data will help them nurture those prospects. They usually just have a contact and maybe an address. And then if we do have this research, then it's about, well, I don't really know what to do with all of that information. How does that help me in this relationship building process? And once I can make sense of all of that data, what do I really send them? How am I getting in front of them? And then ultimately, all right, if I'm doing some of that, we find people are held up or kind of paralyzed from moving forward because how do I even know if it's working, right? What things are we watching for to really have the proof that it is valuable? So where we've gone so far is we've walked you through how to research the companies that do make sense for you to have on your dream list. Whether that be if you're a B2B company, then you are actually probably working with lists of prospects. But if you serve more consumers or you're working directly with people, you might be working with a list of strategic referral partners. We've also then walked through the last time we met how to research all of this information. What data points should you be looking to collect? And if you've missed any of that, I will also have Carrie put in the chat a link so that we have a page that's collected all of the blogs that'll walk you through this. And then we also have the recordings from the last, so I will get those out to you. All right, but today what we're going to do is hopefully you've had a chance to develop some sort of list and do some of the research. And I'm going to show you through how we work with our clients to walk through, make sense of, and analyze all of that information you've collected. All right, this again, just pointing out if you're a B2B company, we're working with prospects. If you're B2C, we'll probably have a list of strategic partners. Okay, so I will be honest about this one. This one is probably going to be one of the most complicated steps. This comes natural to our team, myself. And so I'm going to try to walk you through like how we look at this research. And the truth of it is this piece of it probably just comes with practice. What we're looking for. Now, let me pull up an example. The research we went through last time in the template we gave you probably ended up looking something like this. So you have your list of companies, you know what industries they're in, and then we have all these data points that we have talked through. Oh, this one doesn't have the titles on it. I took those off. But we have things like what are the company's vision, mission, values? What are their goals? What are their market's goals? All of those pieces of information. So hopefully you have gone through their websites and you've collected some of this information. And now what we're going to do is we're going to walk you through how you make themes out of that information you collected. And here is an example of the type of things we're looking for when we're going to go through this information. We're going to pull out descriptive words, phrases, action items, like what are their future goal states that they're helping people work toward? What milestones have they achieved? We're going to start to collect all of this. And the best way to do that is for us to dig in and show you examples of how you're going to build out this next template. So I'm going to ask, I can start with mine. I'll give you a few examples from our own data from the samples here. And then we can work with any of your data, your lists, if you'd like, because we might as well just go through this. Okay, so if you have your blank template, what you're going to see is columns for, well, let me fill this out, but columns for the theme and what information we base that on. Okay, those are the two main ones we're going to start to fill out. So if I come to our research and I start at the industry level, so some of the research we collected, remember, it was best if we found it, what are the industry's challenges? And we went out and we said, okay, in the PR industry, their top 3 challenges in the current years might look like this, is what we found with some of the research. So if I'm now looking for themes and I'm reading through this, if you see with this first one now, you know, the PR industry, their audiences, it's hard to impress them. They're bombarded with constant information. Okay, so that's descriptive. That's got actions. I'm going to come over here into this template and say that one of the themes is that audiences are bombarded with information. Okay, this is for the PR industry. And the reason we put this here where we keep note of which industry is because if you're working with, if your market is multiple industries, you're going to need to make that clear. All right. And sometimes you might pull out a piece of information. Why isn't this wrapped? You might pull out a piece of information that is very specific to one of the companies on your list. And so we'd put that company name here. Okay, but I pulled this theme and I want to remind myself where I got this from. So we're going to just kind of copy this. Okay, so it's kind of like, here's the information that supports that. Okay, coming back. Scheduling, coordinating with clients. Okay, need for creativity and innovation. We're going to pull that over. We can work with that theme. Okay, so that is an industry challenge. Constantly evolving, need to be ahead of the curve. So we're going to put that in for the supporting information. Okay. Why we're doing this is because in our next steps, what you're going to see is you're going to use these themes to build the touch points that you for things that you put in front of them. You're going to build the experiences that go out in front of these contacts. Okay, so these themes are helping us. All right, then I'm going to come, let's see, build trust. Again, because they're bombarded, that's another one. So need to build trust. And that is okay. All right, what else might we get? So if we start digging into be present, be productive, make an impact, you want to look for patterns as well. So one of the reasons I put that there is because we know, and I said it's industry level, right? These are industry level challenges. Now, these things are company specific down here. But are there patterns that we can find in this data? Make a positive impact. Communications, let's see, culture, mission, drive change, driving solutions, fostering relationship. Be present. Here we go. So listening is here, lead with listening, be present is here. That is probably a pattern, right? So listening, communication part, long-term. So we're going to put that over here. Listening skills, be present. And then again, I would bring over the supporting information. Okay, I want to come down here because I know there is, these are designers. Okay, so this was the design industry. And when we went through here, there was a theme of sustainability, plant-based materials, sustainability in our methods and materials, sustainability again here. And so for the design industry, I would put sustainability as a big one. And then I would document some of that supporting. Let's see, accounting. Help startups. Okay, so this was part of a much bigger, this was just a subset of a much bigger list. And I can tell you that when we did the research over and over again in these fields, we saw that they focused on team well-being. So it was well-being over, we saw it multiple times in here. And so well-being is another one that we brought in. And that was for accounting, finance, industry. Okay, another thing that you can look at, I don't know if it's going to show up in here, mental health. Okay, another thing you can look at is one of our fields was conferences. Okay, so if you see a pattern that a lot of the companies on there attend certain types of conversation or of conferences, you want to write that down. For example, one of our clients worked in the financial industry, and their team was regularly attending other financial conferences. So it was like women advisor conferences, what would you call it? It was, I forget the name, but it was like women of color conferences for financial advisors, top Forbes financial advisors. So you could see that it was important to these financial advisors that they were showing up and had continuous learning. So we put continuous learning as one of the themes. We saw with others that in the field where it talked about where you were collecting information that was noteworthy, we saw a pattern of they were all hiring interns. So we put that as a theme. part of what you're going to start to see when it comes to the themes is this should be triggering you for these themes. You want to ask yourself, how can I be helpful about that? How can I help them? I show them that I understand they have a need to build trust and give them some tools for that, right? That's where this is going. How can I show them that I understand well-being is important for them and I want to support them with that, right? So as you're reviewing the research and you're thinking through, oh, I can support them in that. Oh, see, like here, work-life balance. I can support them in that. Leadership team. You know, if I'm seeing things like, okay, they have a lot of these companies have women in leadership, I might put that down because it might be something you want to celebrate. Diversity. Retention, look at that. Their clients have been with them for over 5 years. So if you're seeing things specific to that, pull out retention. High retention is common. Causes. If you see, we had a column in here for which causes are important to them. If you saw that, you know, a lot of them were supporting hunger or food banks, things like that, put that down on the list. Okay, the other thing to note is there is also room in here for you to acknowledge something very specific about a company. So if you saw that company A, I've given you this example before, one of the financial advisors that we had researched, their company had a mascot. You could see that they featured this stuffed animal on their page a lot. It's something fun for their followers to engage in. So on this sheet, we would say company A has a mascot, okay? Because as we're developing our outreach, well, we should send something specific or talk about that mascot, you know, showing, hey, we see your world. Okay, so those are some examples just from all of the data we've been collecting. Does anybody have their own list that they want to share and we can run through together? Let me, or are there questions? I can make this shareable. This one is just going to come by going through it and pulling out and see what we got so we can make some sense of it. Nancy, have you had any success with looking up the realtors?
Yeah, actually, not the realtors, but the coaches. And there was one in particular that we did a pretty good deep dive in. I can share that if you want.
Sure.
On that one. Okay, you want me to share my screen?
Yep.
Okay. All right. And what I found in speaking with other coaches in general,
Yep.
that we tend to attract this type of a coach into our business. This particular one, her name is Melinda, and that's like the name of her company.
Yep.
And she lives in the Keys now, but at one point her and her husband had lived in Minnesota, I believe. They moved a couple of different times.
Yep.
And at that time they were in the corporate rat race. And then they lost their jobs due to economy, whatever, and they made the bold move and said, tired of someday, we're going to do it now.
Mm-hmm.
And so then they moved. So some of her values are like, her biggest thing is work-life balance. And I find that a lot of coaches that I work with are wanting that.
Yep.
That's a big theme.
Hold on right there. So wanting that or work on that with their people, both?
Both, for the most part. Like Melinda here has managed to find that.
So when you write that down, I agree. And the coaches that we've researched, work-life balance comes up a lot. And so that it should be written two ways. One, a line that says something like a focus of work-life balance, and then also important in her life, you know what I mean? So that's specific to her, important in her life, but focus on work-life balance is probably across the coaching industry. So those would be two themes for you there.
Okay. Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, then her big motto is, or what she really works and thrives with her customers is to get them when they're stuck in success, they can't get there. One of the things that people always think is that they don't have enough time to do all the things. And what she does is she helps you, as she calls it, collapse time. It was a unique phrase that she used. And what she's really talking about is taking a task that's overwhelming and either breaking it down into small pieces, or better yet, focus your time on what matters to you at the moment.
So I would put get out of overwhelm
Okay.
as a theme. That's something she works on. And then also collapsing time is a great phrase. And the reason we use her phrase and some of the language, that the specific language you're finding, is because the other reason these themes are important, it's going to help you develop the messaging you put in front of them, because you're going to want to use that. So for example, we understand one of the things, it's very important for you to help your clients get out of overwhelm. Here's some things, some tools, or whatever it is you're going to send, that overall you pull that language in.
Excellent.
Okay.
And then
Fishing needs to be
fishing.
specific to her. Them.
Okay, yeah. All of these things are very specific to them.
Yep.
Her husband actually is a deep sea fish captain, and that's what they do for a living.
Nice.
But more so, let's go to her award area, and this is why I bring this up, is because she's very much into couples and how to have that life balance with couples. And she's written a couple of books: Confidence Mastering for Couples, Life Lessons. She's a certified life and business coach, etc. And she's all about I call it the 3 lives in your marriage. You've got yours, I've got mine, and we have ours.
Yeah.
And so she's particular about that.
So overall, I mean, again, this one would be specific to her, not industry, right? It's what could you write? I guess it would be couples and life focus.
There we go. Because it's very important to her.
Yeah. Yep.
And I think that coaches in general are trying to help people reinsert the life balance back into their world.
Yeah.
It's
as a couple too. Yeah.
As a couple, individual, whatever. So but then what some of the themes that I did find in the hobbies and interests, yes, fishing is very specific to them.
Yep.
But meditation, the water, beach, calling them, and manifestation, those seems to be things that are a little bit more broader with a lot of the coaches that we've worked with, especially, not everybody calls it manifestation, but they'd be shocked as to that's what they're really doing, right?
So
mindset
would be a great one. If I see water or beach, I also pull that out because it's really something you can, it is easy to use when you're developing some, physical experiences that you're going to put in front of them. Almost like, it calls to you, I see, importance. But again, okay, here's how, okay, say you have 5 coaches, right, on your list, but you only see water or beach for a couple. There is a little bit of a pattern. You could put it for all. You could put it as a team for all, but your message would be general enough that it would say something like, it's very common for coaches, when you're working with people, that beach and water are a source of calming. And since I know you're, however but you would put it in a, it's very common kind of way, because then they see, oh, you work with others. Yes, I'm aware of this. I get it. But then at the same time, you could also just use it specific to the two coaches where it applies. So there's a couple ways to do that. Again, when we designed the experience for the group that was working with financial advisors, and well-being was on it for multiple out of the group of 10, we used the theme for all, and the messaging said, we understand you're coming out of a busy season. Well-being is important. So for those where that was found specific in their material, that was immediately, that was a strong trigger for them. But for those where they hadn't mentioned it, it still was clearly, it felt like we saw them because we knew they were busy coming out of tax season or whatever it was, right? So that's how you kind of work in the messaging against the theme you're using.
Okay. Well, one thing that also caught my attention with her is her quote, and it's on her website, that says, "Someday when we get our shit together, we will help others." And it brought into mind the commonality is that a lot of the coaches go with quotes.
Uh-huh.
They thrive on quotes, they give quotes, they like quotes. It's a theme. In fact, it's something that we've been helping one of our clients do, posting on social of just quotes.
Yeah.
They got a bunch of Fiverr, bought a bunch of Fiverr quotes and our images and just posting like crazy. And the interaction they're getting from people is amazing. So is there something with quotes
right there? So
right.
If it were me, I would be finding quotes from each of them.
Mm-hmm.
Allie, yes. I would find a quote from each of them, and I would have a design, print it out, put it on there, and say exactly what you just said. Quotes are very important. They're powerful, blah, blah, blah. Here's one of yours that we thought was very impactful.
So I could take this exact quote right off of her website,
Yep.
put it into something, and then have
Print
you print it up and send it to her.
Frame
And
it.
because it's unique, but yet there is a theme amongst coaches.
Yeah, yeah. So the theme could be general. It's going to be quotes, but the work you got to do is you got to go find one from each, and then you're going to design, custom for each, and you're going to send it out. But I will tell you, it would be highly impactful, because our next meeting, what we're going to dive into is the storytelling that you can pull in that makes what you design lasting. And the one that this pulls in is, well, actually what you're doing is you're validating them, right? And that's what people want. I want you to see me. You're validating that I have some wisdom that I've shared, right? So that's what's going to make that lasting and have that emotional connection to you.
Excellent.
Plus it's, DIY. You made something for them.
Yeah, which they won't get rid of.
Right.
I mean, how often do you get knickknacks and stuff, and after a few years you're like, all right, I'm kind of done with this one.
But it's me. I can't get rid of me, right?
Well, yeah, exactly. You can't get rid of it. I just want to give a side note too of how simple this process was.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really was. But the one thing that I had to do, set a timer.
Good.
Because you can go down that dang rabbit hole. All of a sudden you're scoping them out on Facebook or on LinkedIn, and all of a sudden they're like, and let me check this article, let me check that. And it was like, wow. But no, this process, I would say maybe 15 to 20 minutes on Melinda.
Yep.
I just didn't go further with that with other people, because then I just started thinking generic of, what I saw from other coaches, and like we just talked about, keeping people out of overwhelm, life work balance. And in her case, it's couples. Not everybody's about couples, but it's about manifestation, mindset, all of those things. And the generic marketing was pretty much the same. It's social posting, kinda. The social posting isn't really getting as much
Well-
attention as people think.
Okay, and it's probably also a challenge to keep up.
Correct.
So that goes in your theme as challenge of keeping up.
There we go.
Because again, that's something you can help with. You can at least speak to.
Right.
And this is good because, you know, you probably should have also added that, like, this is a target market of yours. You're going to have worked with them, chances are, before. And so you will have some underlying understanding of them. By all means, fill that in. But go to the spreadsheet for the themes and then dump all of that, dump all of your understanding in there, but get it down, because you're going to find that's what is going to help keep you consistent as we get into planning and actually executing all those touch points. You want to come back to your list.
Because the other biggest thing that we found, yeah, a lot of people are doing podcasts and whatnot. And I think podcasts have gotten to the point where they're so overwhelming. I mean, you have to really stay focused, right? Not that they're bad or wrong or anything against them, but it's like going down the rabbit hole otherwise. But a lot of coaches work mainly word of mouth. And that actually feeds into our product
Put that
because
down.
the app is all about you are now giving your trusted resources to somebody else.
Right.
And so that whole strategic partner, if you will, is exactly what we supply.
Okay,
So,
now, but I'm going to warn you. So you're going to put word of mouth.
right, got
Right.
that?
Yep. Okay. So that's going to be one of your themes. But when you go through this exercise, keep yourself out of selling what you do specific. So yes,
Right.
your solution helps with that. But how else can you prove you understand word of mouth and be helpful without
Right,
selling you, right?
right.
That's what's going to come into the design of this. You just want to make sure.
No, I'm glad you phrased it that way because that is important. And that's kind of what we teach. And so our whole thing about our product is that we are practicing what we are teaching.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that's kind of how we come through. And we will use our own app without necessarily saying, oh, hey, we buy apps, or we make these apps where somebody says, I'm looking for, we will give them our app and say, check this out, it's there. Well, then within the app, there's a way to, go from there. But we never say, would you like one yourself? Would you,
Right.
this would work great for your business. We let them come to that conclusion themselves.
Right. Right.
After they see how it works.
Good.
So
Good. Cool.
Anyway, that's what I got.
Thank you. Thank
Yep.
you. Anyone else want to share some of the information they know? We can go through it.
This is my first time on the
Yeah.
call with Jamie, so I
Thank you.
did not
Good
come
being here.
prepared. I wasn't
That's all
sure
right.
what the spreadsheet was being used for, so.
Yeah. Did it help? Do you understand?
It does.
Yeah.
We definitely think about multiple touch points with our content
Yeah.
in terms of providing content that is specific to the type of work that we're doing with our clients.
Good.
We routinely send out Christmas gifts, but I'm not sure. We've always talked about that. Like, is this the
Sure.
right time? Because clients get avalanched.
Sure.
Right.
And we see a lot kind of pull out of Christmas, but maybe into like a Thanksgiving or something around there.
Right.
But again, you can still do it with a strong enough message, right? So if it's not, I mean, it's common, right? Like a lot of consumable things, just as a general thank you. But is there a way to make it even stronger to show them like this is a gift because I see what's in your world, what's happening, right? So some of this kind of listing of themes might help you guys with that, like year end, whatever that appreciation looks like.
Right. And I was just going to mention that Drew had some kind of, I mean, it was years ago.
Yeah.
And, he sends out gifts at Valentine's Day. 'Cause he
Right,
wanted to shower his clients with love, you know?
right.
So I thought that was kind of cool. So
Yep.
our emblem is a sun.
Oh,
And years ago, that's why I know it was pre-COVID. But we really only did it one year, but we sent our clients, so our emblem is a sun.
yep.
So at the summer solstice in June, we
Oh,
sent out ice cream,
Oh.
specialty flavor ice cream to all of our clients. And they
whoa.
loved it.
Yeah,
But we haven't done it since.
that's a hard one to pull off too. What is your, so EMC Outdoor, tell me about your work. Who's the market?
We're a specialist agency focusing on strategy, planning, and buying of outdoor media.
Yes.
Best known formats are billboards, airport,
Okay.
and transportation advertising, but it really runs the gamut of
Yeah.
anything other than TV, radio, print, broadcast,
Sure.
anything broadcast or internet advertising, digital marketing, even direct mail. Everything else
Yeah.
falls into our wheelhouse.
Okay,
So, but
sure,
it's a
sure.
great way to reach audiences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First day of summer. Oh, I do love that too, Nancy.
Yeah, and
Um,
and then I met somebody who could possibly design a sun logo, like a really fun one, like a mandala, you know?
Oh,
And so then I
yeah.
was thinking, well, maybe I'll make like some clings, window clings.
Yeah,
Some of them throw off prisms or something like that. So
sure.
that's what I've been thinking, but it's kind of more of a universal gift. And what
Sure.
you're talking about is a personal touch point.
Well,
So I like the idea of the quote,
yeah,
whether you take one of their quotes or you send them a quote, because one time I was a guest on a podcast and
yeah,
somebody sent me a quote from that podcast.
yeah.
So
Probably
I thought that
Drew.
was very unique.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was true.
There's something else I just thought of too, you know, like I said, the first day of summer, but what about like a day that is a fall or winter or like in January?
bringing you the
Yep,
sun.
of saying, hey, keep the sunshine
Yes.
and we bring you the sunshine.
Groundhog Day, where, oh, yeah.
Oh, Groundhog Day, beautiful.
I like that.
Good one, Gary. The other thing I thought you could
Oh, here,
play.
I'll show you. Wait, I'll just show you my card. Can you all see it?
Oh,
So that's like a business card. It's got a
yes.
QR code on the back, but so we do things around our sun logo. So that's more about us, not about them,
right.
right?
But here's the twist. Okay, so yes, the sun, what's nice is that it can be so subtle, right? So you're not exactly sending me a branded item, but you are. Like, you know what I mean? Like people, that's
Yeah.
a great way to do that. But the other way you could do it, what's got me thinking is the outdoor theme, because you do billboards. Like, could you get like a mini billboard?
We
You put their
have.
quote,
We've
right?
sent clients billboards after their campaign. And then that,
Right.
of course, sits on their desk.
Yeah.
Or in, you know, where they have awards or things like that. So 'cause we
Yeah.
work with a lot of agencies as well as brands direct.
Okay. We had a client that did, you can do custom. Have you seen, it started to be a big thing during COVID, but the advertisements for those like gigantic coloring posters. So it's
Oh, yeah.
meant to be like in a break
I
room.
got one of those.
Yes.
Those are fun.
They are, but you could get it custom with your logo.
Oh,
Like
that's
the
cool.
mandala, like the main thing, and then some like wording. But again, so here's what that could do. Now you could have it, while it's your logo, the whole thing could be themed around give your team a break, you know, well-being, because there's something about that. Like, so now you can pull in what is the coloring trying to do for them, and now it
Yeah.
is more personal. But still having you guys in it.
Yeah.
I also think that some of your messaging, because of being outdoors, the sun being out there, like we keep your name in lights, or, you know, let us shine light on who you are. So it's still about them.
Yeah.
So that is fun to be able to play with. Yeah.
Thank you for all your suggestions, everyone.
Yeah. Very
Yeah.
cool. Thanks for being here.
Yeah. I was thinking my sales manager should be here.
Well, I'll send you after the link to like the replays and your team can watch it, kind of go from the start.
Right.
And maybe that'll add more, so, ideas.
Thank you.
Yeah,
That'd be good.
yeah. Cool. And Allie, how's your list going?
Well, as you might imagine, Jamie, it's a little slower than I had anticipated,
Oh,
right?
yes, you did have some life events. You're right. Yes.
Yes, yes. And
Mhm.
so, like I had started and like Nancy said, kind of fell down that rabbit hole of like 5 clicks later, I don't even recognize where I am on the internet anymore. And it's like, wait, I think I just lost an hour. I don't know. And so, I did a little more focused on like 3-ish people
Sure.
so far, but it was very high level. And so now I feel like I need to find the blend between those two things so I
Yep.
can get to the themes that will make sense.
Yeah.
You know, because now I feel like maybe it was too cursory a glance or too, I don't know.
Okay.
But I'm gonna dig around and just take a look at it, but you know, set some time parameters. to
Yeah.
make it
Well,
manageable.
knowing what I do about yours, I think one of the things that has to be on there is that idea of the, what do you call it? The zeros, the milestones, the
Yes, yes, milestone birthdays is for sure definitely.
yes. And yours could absolutely be a blast. So, well, Allie, if you want to explain what that is, what you see happening on milestone birthdays.
Well, it's the one time in life that we are given permission to blow up our lives if we so choose, more or less, right? Sometimes small and sometimes really big. I'm a good example. Jamie, I think you share an experience around
Yeah.
that. Where, you know, all of a sudden I went, whoa, like it's not a tiny tweak. There is no like lift and shift and everything gets better situation for me. I need like a full on reset. And the people that I talk to, it's actually the question. So like, here's my, and you won't be able to read that. Oh, let's try. Okay. Okay. So it says, here's the T, and there is a QR code. If you're ready for some, wow, my camera is not doing
There
it.
you
Ready
go.
for some
Okay.
clarity?
Yeah.
But basically it's attached to a tea bag, but the scoop is like, everyone says they hate their job, but you can't say that about your life, even when you're secretly thinking it.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
and it's that idea of, oh my gosh. You said out
Yeah.
loud
Who
the
would
thing-
say that?
The secret thing that, like, when you hit a milestone birthday, sometimes that is exactly what you're thinking. You're going, how did I get here? And what, like, which choice do I undo to get out of whatever this is like? And sometimes it's like really great things that you wanted and
Yeah.
strive to achieve, and then found out they're not for you anymore, and like whatever the reason. But that milestone birthday is like the only time you have permission to explore it. So, you know, that's 40, 50, 60, sometimes on the 5s, but it tends to congregate on the 0s.
So I think like one of your eye-catching things could be, I mean, something so ridiculous like, you know, we all know that when the milestones hit, we're looking for what's next. And maybe, you know, some people get a car, maybe you need a wig, you know, maybe if you're sending them like this colorful wig or something, but like, you know, you want to be a different person, but you could do something silly and they're like, why did I get this? Oh, I get it. Like, you know, hold break. Maybe it's one of those like break in case of emergency, break on your milestone birthdays.
That would be really fun.
And it's your permission for one day of, but I mean, because even if I didn't go buy a sports car on that birthday, who hasn't known someone who you walked around going, oh, they are having a crisis, you know? So we can all relate. I think that would be very engaging.
Okay, I love that idea actually. And like just having something whenever, because it's like the period of time right before that birthday. Like
Yes.
many other people I talked to, myself, it was true. Like it's that 6 months before even where you're like, here it comes, here it comes. Oh, is this what I thought insert age is gonna be? Is this what I thought? Right.
Yeah.
And so it's like And sometimes I run into people who are like, yeah, I've been thinking about this for a while and I don't know what to think yet. And so it's sometimes the 6 months after, but it's like that weird, there's sometimes a lag.
I got another one coming up in 2 years, and I'm already planning one.
Yeah, okay.
I've already said my bucket list is I'm going dancing in Ibiza before.
I love it.
It's totally nuts, but it's gonna happen. But another thing here that we always recommend when we get to the point where we're designing your strategy, okay? The Dream 25 says you should have a touch point every 7-ish weeks, right? Okay, so
Okay.
something needs to be in front of them every 7 weeks. We'll get to this. But at least somewhere on there, you need to invite them to talk to you somehow and not let me sell you, okay?
Right.
If you had a podcast, hey, I'd love to interview you on my podcast. Hey, I'd love to interview you for a blog post. Oh, do you want to come to my Q&A? Oh, do you want to, right? It's soft. But for you, I almost wonder, could your invitation be, tell me about the craziest milestone blow up you've seen, because we've all seen one.
Right.
And that's your chance just to talk. Like maybe you do a series where you highlight what people like, stories, funny stories.
That'd be really fun.
Because it's not threatening. I don't feel like you're gonna sell me something if I tell you this.
Yeah.
But together you are gonna talk and you're gonna crack up and they're gonna like you and stick around, right? Like, so that's
Yeah.
the goal here.
love
So
that
just kind of
idea.
plant that seed. Like, what is it at some point when we design this thing that you're going to invite them to do? And that might be a theme that works.
Well, you'll be glad to know that I have ongoing milestone birthday research where I do talk to people as they're getting close. So that would be the perfect invite to,
Nice.
but I've never asked that question specifically, which I want to add immediately.
Yay. Oh, that'll be a fun one. You could use it to, yeah.
Ooh, I like that.
Too fun. Yes.
Is anyone else imagining a cartoon coyote right now?
Yeah, I
or is
know.
you-
I was just-
Right. You will get their attention, and if for no other reason, they'll want to call you and tell you how funny it was. Or how
Yeah.
you made their day. Or, something. It just,
Yeah.
when Jamie was talking about the explosion, I was like, that's it.
Yep.
Yeah. I have a guy that he does the recruiting and he's overseas, and I follow his newsletter, and I got to tell you, his newsletters, he's never tried to sell me anything, and I am constantly responding his newsletter with his stories for a similar reason. But he
Yeah.
keeps you like, you just want to laugh with him, and you're like, yeah, that happened to me too, or whatever. So yeah, it's a good way to keep, because and now I feel like I really like this guy. And now, hey, he's coming into the States, and he had posted, hey, well, I'm going to be here, here, and here. Is anybody around to meet? I want to be like, I will be there.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I love that. Okay. Very helpful.
good. All right.
Um,
Are you saying Kenosha wasn't on his list?
No, it's crazy. It wasn't.
Crazy.
Las Vegas.
Oh,
No. Yeah. Very fun. I am the office that I'm in. So Betsy, I'm in Wisconsin, and it's warm here today, and there's no circulation right now. And I like think I'm sitting against this pillow too, and it's like adding to the like. Anyway, sorry, personal.
anybody think about sending Jamie a fan as a gift?
Right. Have one, but
What's
it's
your
loud.
favorite quote, Jamie?
My favorite what?
What's your favorite quote?
Yeah, no kidding.
Fan with your favorite quote on it.
Right.
We're a
right.
fan with your favorite quote.
Oh, I love
Send her
that.
a bunch of those Chinese fans.
Oh, that I love too.
Mhm.
They were walking around with at the Olympics a lot with fans.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we got a few minutes. Any last questions? But as you continue to work through this, like I said, this is the part where it's gonna start getting a little tricky. Like, well, I don't know. So feel free, reach out, let me know how else I can help. This is my favorite part though, it's the creative side. So Carrie and I tend to get real deep in this stuff. So always about the ideas.
Well, thank you for all the,
Yeah.
just talking it through and
Yeah.
coming up with some fun ways to bring it all to life. Appreciate
Of
it.
course, no problem. It's great to meet you. Hopefully we'll see you at an event together again soon.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'll send you probably not till later or tomorrow some of those links for your team.
Okay,
And
that'd
you
be
know,
great.
feel free to join us back here anytime.
Thank you.
Cool, yeah. All right, ladies.